Hey guys, welcome back to my Animal Adventures YouTube channel, and in this video I want to talk about rats, and specifically I want to talk about the 4 ways that you can make money with rats. Alright, so if you've been watching my YouTube channel, you know that I am a snake guy. I have a lot of snakes. I keep and breed ball pythons and reticulated pythons, and there's only one thing on the menu, and that is rats. And let me tell you, rats have value as a food item in the reptile business, and it's almost equivalent to cash, believe it or not. You can go into almost any reptile store or a lot of pet stores, and you can buy things with rats instead of money. It's pretty incredible. And I keep my rats. Let me show you my setup here. I have 2 racks that I breed my rats in, and I actually have a couple levels on top here with mice, and then I have some smaller tubs down here. These are typically what they call breeder tubs, and then over here I have another rack, and these are typically grow out tubs. And my organization's a little bit different than the typical use. Typically what I do down here is I hold all my retired males and females, and then my new grow out upcoming breeders, and then over here I usually keep my trios, or sometimes, typically it's 4 females with 1 male, and I jump the male through the tubs and kind of go that way. But if you look at these rats, they grow incredibly fast. Let me show you some of these rats here. These are pretty incredible. So these rats here, take a look at these guys. These rats are only a few days old. Check it out. These are, I would say, less than a week. This is how they start out, and then from there they grow up into, I would say, kind of the cute stage. I have some really cute ones here. Check out these guys. They are so cute. And rats, believe it or not, rats are really friendly, and I've never really been bitten by a rat. I've had some close calls from the big ones, but usually the little ones, they're a little skittish because they're not used to being handled. But you think they're really cute at that stage, and believe it or not, in 9 months later, let me tell you what that little tiny rat turns into. This big male right here, this one right here, he is 9 months old. Look at how big that black rat is. So your little tiny baby rats turn into big rats in no time at all. So believe it or not, in the reptile business, rats have value dead or alive. And typically they're worth a little bit more alive, but they still have value in the freezer in packages. And typically I go through a lot of rats and mice, and I order online from a company called Rodent Procom. And most of the times you go into a pet store, and if they're buying your rodents, typically they will give you almost an equivalent of what they can buy them online at some of these big rodent places. That's all they do is breed rodents. And let me tell you, rodents is a big business, and you're kind of competing with the big guys when especially if you're a small guy like me. It's kind of tough to compete with the big guys as far as making a profit. And what it really comes down to, as far as making a profit, it's 2 things, and that is your bedding cost and your food cost. So take a look at this. This is what I use for bedding. It's actually like a pine bedding, and there's one that's sleeping. He's not dead, he's just sleeping. and I use a pine bedding, and I get it really cheap. And some pine is really toxic to rats, and you really have to be careful of the pine. And what you really want is a kiln-dried pine, and this is what I use. It's Rocky Mountain softwood screen shavings, and this, I struggled for a long time to get the right kind of pine shavings that wasn't toxic for my rats. And I actually found a local breeder. He's breeding rats in the back of a pet store, and he turned me onto this and showed me where to get it. And it's 8.5 cubic feet. It expands incredibly, and it's only about $7 a bag. And it only takes me about 2.5 bags to go through all these tubs and replace all the substrate. And I put it pretty deep. Typically in some of these tubs, some of them are a little bit thinner, and I don't really measure it out. Some of them are deeper than others, but I put a good, I'd say several inches in. It seems like the deeper you have it, the longer it'll last, and you don't have to change it as often. So for the food, what I use is Missouri, and I found that rodents can really be affected by poor food. And this is a really scientifically balanced diet. It's Missouri Rodent Breeder 6F. And that works fantastic. And what I do is I actually put it in these trays behind these racks are on wheels. They're awesome. And I should show you the backs here. That holds between both these racks, I'd say it holds probably 350 pounds of food. It's pretty incredible the amount of food that these can hold. And I only top them off about once a week, I'd say. And then I'd say every few months what I do typically is I'll take, I'll kind of let it run out, almost completely run out, and then I'll take the tops and I'll put it all on the bottom level so they can eat the bottom, and then I'll fill the tops with new so I don't have really old food in there for very long. So I've had a lot of people look at my rat breeding operation and they look at my rack system and they're like, oh, that's fantastic. You only have to feed them like once a week, and it's easy. You just fill the trays, and then these water jugs here, it waters every single tub. There's a little nozzle here that is activated by pressure, and if the rat just moves it to the side a little, it gives them some water, and it's all automatic. Everything is totally automatic. And you don't even have to really mess with these racks at all. But the only problem is these are really expensive. These are made by ARS Caging. You can go to arscaging.com, and I'd say between these two racks, I probably have $5,000 invested in equipment right here. Okay, so if you really want to make money breeding rats, what you can do is typically some people will build their own rat racks to save money. But I've seen people build them out of wood and the concrete mixing tubs, and personally I think that's a really bad idea, because if you look at the concrete mixing tubs, you can get them like at Home Depot. They're really thin and flimsy, and as a matter of fact, I've seen a lot of people's rats chew through them, and then they start putting screen on the inside and they chew around the screen, and the last thing you want is rats running around the house. That'd be devastating. And so what I decided to do is go with these really high quality racks. And if you invest in a really high quality rack, the rack really holds its value. It's similar to farm equipment, almost, especially in the cattle business. I have some cows, so I can kind of relate to the cattle side of things. And if you think about equipment that can make you money in the long term, it's really in high demand, and it really holds its value. So I could probably get most of my money back, if not all of it, after using this for probably 10 or 20 years. So that's number one on how to make money with rats. You breed them as food for reptiles, but there are a few other ways you can actually make money with rats. And I would say probably the number two way that you can really make a lot of money, especially if I was breeding on this scale, and that is breeding them as pets. And let me tell you, instead of selling, a big adult rat for $2.75 at the pet store, I could probably get $20 or maybe even $25 for even a smaller rat. And the only problem with rats is that they don't live very long. And I didn't really want to get into that side of the business, because selling pets that die within a year and a half, and then you have to replace them. It almost seems like it's almost like a heartbreak that, for the kids, that they buy an animal, they get attached to it, and then a year later it dies. And personally, I would recommend a snake, because they live about 30 years. Okay, so for the third way that you can make money with rats, that would be as an exterminator. And most people, when you look online and you're looking at making money with rats, that is putting out poison and getting rid of rats in the big city. And let me tell you, that could pay some big money, and that's not really that's not really where I'm focused, or a direction that I'm heading, or a direction I'm suggesting. But that is another big way to make money, and I've actually seen some videos about how big pest control business can be, and it's kind of interesting, especially down south. if you have some of these pest control guys, they're not only doing, you know, the rats, trying to get rid of the rats, they're also trying to get rid of the snakes and the alligators, and it gets pretty exciting. That's another side of the business where you can make some money with rats. Okay, so I pretty much covered the first way that you can make money with rats as reptile food, the second way that you can make money with rats, and that is keeping them and breeding them as pets and pet quality rats. The third way is in the pest control business, and the fourth way that you can make some pretty serious money with rats that most people haven't considered, and that is on YouTube. And believe it or not, when I make videos about rats, it seems like they do very well, and as my channel is growing and growing, my rat videos seem to be climbing higher and higher, and they make more and more money as time goes on. And as a matter of fact, if I tore down all my equipment, got rid of all my rats, my rat videos would still be making money. Okay, so that's pretty much it about the 4 ways that you can make money working with rats. And out of those 4 ways, there's really only 2 ways that I'm making money with rats, and that is as reptile food or in the YouTube video realm. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.